What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Toxic Boyo, and we're going to be talking about the most recent chapter of Dragon Ball Super, Chapter 62. Now, I won't really be able to show it on screen because last time I tried to do that, I got a fucking copyright strike from Shueisha. And I think that that's why my videos haven't been getting put in front of you. I can't know that for sure, but it feels that way. Anyway, what we got here is just a basic, standard heroes get the shit beat out of them, villain just goes to town, and I love stuff like that. That's why I loved Zoom so much in the Flash season 2 because he just wrecked shop on Barry. Even in my own writing, I've had a couple of moments where just the good guys just get eviscerated by the bad guys. Just a complete domination, an almost uncontested show of force. Because what it's really good at doing is setting the stakes, especially for something like this where it's so late in the story. It's like, okay, Goku can use Ultra Instinct Sign on command. Vegeta has his Forced Spirit Fission ability. So the both of them now have these tools that they didn't have access to before. So obviously, they're going to be able to defeat Moro. Not so. And since it was looking like it was, speeding towards a finale, towards a climax, here's this. So now you know that the situation is completely different than you thought it was. It's honestly a very effective subversion of expectations. And now you're kind of stuck wondering, well, what the hell do they do next, And I mean, like, when I say everybody gets taken out, Vegeta gets wiped out by his own Big Bang attack because, as I predicted in the last chapter, now that he has the ability to copy people's abilities, he's going to copy Vegeta's abilities and gain Force Spirit Fission. But so far, he hasn't seemed to have a chance to use Force Spirit Fission. What I'm thinking is, if you read the chapter already, then then you know that later on in the chapter, I completely forgot to mention there's going to be spoilers. Hopefully, it's in the title. Anyway, if you read the rest of the chapter, then you know that he intentionally leaves Goku and Piccolo alive. Now, what I think he wants to do is separate Kami and Nail from Piccolo and eat them all individually. That, I don't know. I really can't know that for sure, but maybe you'll get more for your money that way. I'm actually not exactly sure what the point of that would be. But yeah, he absorbs Vegeta really early in the chapter, and then he takes him out with his own attack, a Big Bang attack, which right after, he says the most disrespectful thing ever. Like, was that supposed to impress somebody? Yeah. Was that supposed to impress anyone? Such a grandiose name for such an ordinary Chi Blast. Like, this is the technique that Vegeta used to one-shot Android 19. Like, that is one of his most dominant abilities. Like, honestly, it's been more effective than the Final Flash and the Gallic Gun have been. And here Moro just throws it out like it's just a regular 5S in Dragon Ball FighterZ. That blew my mind. That was amazing. I don't like Moro as a villain. I don't even really like this arc that much, but I really think that this chapter does a really good job of keeping things interesting and creating tension, and now I'm more excited for next month's chapter than I've been in a long time of reading this manga. And I mean, that's good. For this being a monthly manga and being about 40 pages, and most of the pages being really light on dialogue and story, and especially chapters like this where it's just action focused for the most part, they have to be creative and be smart on how they're going to get you to come back next month and read the next chapter. And I think that this is a very effective way to do so. And, like, he no diffs Piccolo and Gohan, which, I mean, come on now. That was pretty obvious, right? Like, there was no way Piccolo and Gohan were going to take out somebody that one-shot Vegeta with his own technique. But Piccolo actually does something really smart. He's like, I'm going to use my arms because it seems like in Dragon Ball Super, Piccolo forgot he has stretchy arms, but he tried to do it on Moro to keep him still. And a really cool moment happens. Gohan breaks out a Galactic Donut. When I was reading this the first time, I'm like, did he just do a Galactic Donut? Now, what's interesting about that is, for some reason, people are upset. Like, they think that Galactic Donut is some sort of, like, I don't know, unique legacy ability exclusive to Gotenks that nobody else could possibly use, even though when Boo absorbed Gotenks, he used it on Gohan. So Gohan has a memory of how effective this technique is to keep somebody in place. And what's interesting, or not interesting, but like what's important to remember about this is that people have been able to duplicate abilities since the start of Dragon Ball. Goku was able to do a Kamehameha after seeing it once. Vegeta was able to do a Destructo Disc after seeing it once. So was Frieza. Boo was able to do instant transmission after seeing it once. Like characters, especially characters that have either a really high battle intelligence, like Vegeta or Boo, who's not exactly conscientious of everything he does, but he is very effective in battle. Characters like that have the advantage, and characters like Goku and Gohan, who are very easily adaptable because Gohan is Goku's son and inherited that ability from him. It makes total sense that Gohan would be able to do the Galactic Donut because, I mean, think about the Masenko. If you look it up, it says that he got that ability from Piccolo. But Piccolo never does a Masenko. He does the Makanko Sapon. So, I guess Gohan witnessed the Special Beam Cannon and was like, I can do something like that. And so there's the Masenko. And to this day, it's his most iconic move, and it's one of Trunks' most iconic moves. Thinking about it now, the fact that people are really, not even, just upset, but, ferociously pressed about the fact that Gohan was able to do an ability that he saw one time. A very simple ability. It's not even really that complicated. And it does a pretty good job of keeping Moro still. He didn't get him in a very good way. He only got one arm trapped to his midsection, so Moro tries to use the other arm to block Goku's Kamehameha. Which, honestly, I thought Goku was going for a Hakai. Because as a lot of you guys know, he has the Hakai in the manga. It's stupid, whatever. But if he'd been able to gather the energy required to use the Hakai, it probably would have been very helpful. Piccolo eventually does something that I think is really interesting. I want to talk about that. Before that, Moro demonstrates the fact that he still has access to every ability that 7-3 copied by using Piccolo's Namekian regeneration to punch a hole straight through Goku's chest. So Goku's dying. You got a gaping hole in your chest, you're not okay. Goku was out of the fight. Legitimately, he's done. Not even in the same way that, when his body was rejecting Ultra Instinct. Nah, he's out. He's not getting back up to make the save anytime soon. Gohan gets angry and his power spikes, much like in the Saiyan saga. He's like, oh, I'm going to protect my dad. He gets one hit. His teeth get knocked out, man. The paneling in this chapter is amazing. I think Toyotaro is a mid-tier panelist. I think he's a very good artist, and the man is gifted at drawing Dragon Ball, but his paneling needs some serious work most of the time. But Dende is like, oh, I'm on my way to save you guys. And since he has Piccolo's abilities, Moro was like, interesting. So what he does is, honestly, he shoots a beam up, right? So I thought he was going to kill Dende. I was going to be pissed off. But what he does is he just makes a dome, like a barrier. And what I find interesting is that Piccolo decides to take advantage of the fact that nobody can get in or out, and he starts charging up what's going to be, I guess, like a self-destruct move, which, that I know of, Piccolo has never done, but I guess he would have access to it. I think anybody would have access to it if they just tried hard enough. But before that, 17 and 18 jump in, they get one shot, they get finger gunned away, they're just done, which is a shame, because of how much they withstood during the Tournament of Power. But on the topic of Piccolo trying to self-destruct, another character voiced by Chris Sabat also has a self-destruct move. You know who I'm talking about, Vegeta. So, you take Vegeta and his gigantic destructive wave technique, and you combine it with Piccolo's utter, complete regeneration. Moro can spam a fucking nuclear level move over and over again. That's kind of scary. But I mean, even the personal threat to himself has been reduced by the fact that Vegeta survived it the second time he did it. Maybe it's because his body was more durable in Super Saiyan Blue evolved form. I don't care. I thought that was really stupid. But it's canon. He's done the move twice. He survived the second time. So maybe doing it would actually be less harmful to Moro if he were to do it now. It would be interesting to see him try to pull it off, though. It'd be very interesting. But then he takes out Piccolo with his own special beam cannon, and goodness gracious, the paneling on that is amazing. But, the only person left is Jocko, and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't really see Jocko putting up much of a fight. But then, as Dende's, beating himself up because he's supposed to be Earth's guardian and he can't seem to protect the people of Earth, a hole in the barrier opens up and he falls in. And you see a very familiar rod or a staff, whatever you want to call it. It's Whis, and he's like, hey, Dende, it's not over. He doesn't call him Dende, he doesn't know his name. Dende recognizes him, so that's how you know it's Whis. The only angel that he would recognize would be Whis because he met him in the initial God of Destruction, the initial Battle of Gods arc. Golly, what the hell is wrong with me? And then after that, Mira shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm here to make the save." And what's his name? Moro is like, "You're not an ordinary, you're not really Galactic Patrol, are you?" And so that's interesting. I don't know that he knows that Miras is an angel, but he definitely knows that something is up with him. So what we've got here is there are two angels here on the field now, Whis and Miras. Whis definitely isn't going to interfere properly, because Miras, from what I could tell, is going to face some sort of punishment for interfering with Goku's journey in this arc as heavily as he did, because angels are not supposed to get involved in matters regarding mortals, not even matters regarding gods of destruction. If a god of destruction wants to do something, the angel has to be okay with it. I guess unless the god of destruction goes completely out of control and just starts trying to blow up the entire universe because he feels like it, then I'm sure the angel would step in because they're more powerful and would be able to neutralize the god of destruction. Maybe an angel can Hakai a god of destruction. That would be cool. But what's interesting that Whis does is that he opens the barrier so that Dende can, enter the battlefield. So what I'm guessing is Miras is here to cause a distraction for long enough for Dende to heal Piccolo, Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, all the Z fighters that got taken out, restore their energy, get them back in fighting shape. Because I don't see Senzu beams really being a thing in the situation. But Whis lives a great distance away from Earth. So if he came here from Beerus' planet, maybe he brought Beerus. I think it would be really cool for this whole arc to end with Beerus actually taking him out. Beerus shows up, he's like, "Oh, I can't let you destroy the Earth because of the food," and he just Hakai's Moro. That's the end. That would be such a good gotcha. I feel like it would annoy a lot of people, and probably rightly so. But I think it would be great because Beerus has been a constant presence in Dragon Ball since 2013 and hasn't done a damn thing since then. In the filler arc of Super, he sparred with Goku again, which is cool, I guess. And then he Hakai'd Zamasu, which accomplished bumfuck nothing. The rest of the arc still took place the way that it did, even though he used one of the coolest techniques ever in the history of Dragon Ball. But all that aside, I really do think it would give this arc an interesting ending that does, dive back into the order of things beyond the mortal characters that we follow every month. It would give Beerus something to do, and honestly, it would just be really cool to see that, because when it gets animated, if it ever gets animated, it would be pretty sick to watch Beerus Hakai somebody and then it actually be effective. There's a history of characters doing things and then it just doesn't work because they suffer from this crippling disease called "I'm not Goku." And one of the only exceptions to that rule is when Trunks defeated Zamasu, but even that didn't make sense. But you know what? I'm just glad that they gave the W to somebody that wasn't Goku for once, so I'll live with it. But even then, it really wasn't Trunks that won, right? Because Zamasu became Infinite Zamasu, and Goku had to summon Zeno, who destroyed the universe. So it's like, who really won that arc, you know? But those are my thoughts on this chapter and where things could go in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and drop my old theory of them fusing into Gogeta to fight mirrors, because that's definitely not gonna happen. I just thought it would be interesting if he showed up in the manga for the first time ever, because every other fusion has been in the manga except for him. But yeah, that's it. I'll rock with you guys in the future.